time, we want to just invite the next speaker, Dr. B.A. Uma, Chief Medical Officer at Kalpavriksha Ayurveda Center, CBE. And her topic is management of home isolated mild and moderate COVID-19 cases. A warm welcome to Dr. B.A. Uma. Madam, you can start this session, madam.
Very good evening to one and all. I am just presenting my screen. A moment, please.
A wonderful session was given by Dr. Sumit because he has done very good research, because his research parameters have been taken from with the collaboration with PST Medical College and AVP Research Center, because those data are very valuable for our clinical practice also. I thank all the participants to stay there to listen to the class of Dr. B.A. Uma, because she has also done some research activities at her own hospital, Kalpavriksha at Coimbatore. So Dr. B.A. Uma, please continue the class, doctor. And she's sharing the screen now. You can see. Okay, doctor, you can start this session. Thank you.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, doctor, it is audible and it is also visual. Okay, doctor, you can continue, doctor. You can continue.
Yeah, sure. Very good evening to one and all. I'm going to talk about Ayurveda management of home isolated mild and moderate COVID cases. People are wondering, like, is there any treatment in Ayurveda for COVID? But one thing what you need to understand is Ayurveda treatment for COVID dates back to 2003 February, when it first appeared in Asia. There were almost 8,098 infected and 774 deaths was reported. So at that point of time, the WHO Ayurveda panelists had a discussion of what medicine to prescribe. And their choice of herb was Yashti Madhu. The glycerin in the Yashti Madhu was able to prevent viral replication, and it reduced the inflammation and dampened the cytokine storm. It was actually given for hepatitis B and C, but apart from that, there were so many other advantages of giving Yashti Madhu, and that was explored during that period in February 2003. And almost this particular prescription was given world over. And now, what is the difference between the previous episode of COVID and now SARS-CoV-2 is now the mortality rate is very high. And to know why there is a very high mortality rate, first and foremost is late presentation. And then comes comorbidities which are associated, ARDS, pulmonary embolism, cardiovascular, and sepsis and all that. But late presentation means first they don't come on day one or symptom. They don't even if they don't want to even go for a test. So this is what happened even in my with my patients. A lot of my patients keep calling, telling that, doctor, I have a throat pain, doctor, I have fever, but it is not COVID. They finalize it to be a simple viral fever and not COVID. So I had to worry about that because see, they're complicating things. The later they present, then the mortality rate is high. That they don't understand. So what I had to tell them was that even if you have a mild COVID symptom like a fever or a cough, please call us. We will help you, because they don't want to go to any other system. Some people are very much fond of only Ayurveda medicines or some sort of home remedies, and those who don't want to go to allopathy. So this time what happened was, people were, there was a pertinent fear. Should I go for the test? Will I be tested positive? And they always convinced doctor also, telling that, no, I drank some water from outside, I had some infection only because of that, doctor, I have no COVID and all. So see, what I thought was, because there was a heavy demand for oxygen beds and all that here in Coimbatore, so this late presentation, we need to focus more on that. So if I had to focus more on late presentation, usually don't give a call if they have a doubt. Only if it is confirmed. Like it was a mild cold, but it is not severe. So they try convincing themselves. So when they definitely see the symptom, I ask them to give us a call so that we give them a set of medicines. As I told you earlier in 2003, how they had prevented the viral replication and how they had also prevented the cytokine storm. So this way, when giving a preventive measure, I thought we will be able to help a lot of our patients. And once we start giving, we will definitely ask them to also go for an RT-PCR test. We don't skip that at all. At any point of time, we don't skip that. We ask them to definitely do the test because it is a pandemic. We need to convince them to do it. So first day, what happens is once we start with the medicines and they start feeling better, we say immediately you give for the test. So once you give for the test and get the report, then we go with the other biomarkers which are very important. It is not easy for us to convince the home isolated patients, but still we keep doing this. That is special call of treatment. For home isolation, so mild, moderate, we get a consent form, and they are what are the days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or whatever it is. And we get this very kapha illness data. And another important thing is any other medical variants like hypertension. Hello.
It is audible. It is audible. Armi, I just changed the host.
Yeah. 1 minute.
It will be connected. A small technical problem. We will be making it out. The host will be changed. Within 1 minute, it will be corrected. It will be corrected. Sorry for the interruption.
Hello, my doctor. Hello, yes, my doctor. Yeah. You are not able to listen? Yeah, I can hear you.
It is audible, madam. It is audible. You can present it out. No problem. It is audible.
Is it audible? Okay. Please continue.
Please continue, madam.
Yeah. So I was talking about the protocols which we have in our center. See, there were a lot of COVID positive family. So family members, there are 5 or 6 or more. So what happened was certain things, it was quite hectic for us to deal with those patients. So we had our own special protocol, forming a WhatsApp group for all the patients and asking at least one person to report about the others. That is with a name, temperature, SpO2. SpO2 has to be reported once in 6 hours and of course with a 6-minute walk test and existing symptom, whether it is reducing or same or increasing. This point seems to be very important in the prognosis because if the symptoms are reducing or same, it's fine. But if it is increasing, you need to go for some rasa aushadhis. So that way it is helping me in finding this out. And any new symptom presented, because first 3 or 4 days, sometimes people will be okay, then Atisara starts after that. So then apart from this, the medicines taken in Ayurveda, when they are on home isolation, the problem is whether they are taking it properly. Those which has to be crushed, those medicines to be crushed. And the Anupanna and Petimaran given, the ginger juice to be given. So
Uma madam, you can just continue. You can just continue. Please talk.
Can you hear?
Yeah. It's audible. It's audible. Please go ahead.
It's audible, madam. Audible.
Fine. So this is about the special protocol which we followed, and whatever medicines they have taken today, because our medicines are not that easy, like you swallow after food and before food, not that simple. So some to be taken half an hour before food, and some to be taken on empty stomach, and so all that follow up we did with in a WhatsApp group for every particular family. And I'm a person who had given them a lot of home remedies, and I.
Hello.
There's some connectivity.
I'm sorry, I think it is getting disconnected.
There are some connectivity issues.
Just continue. No problem, madam. You can continue.
Okay. So what we did was basically we started giving them some home remedies as well. So in the home remedies, one important home remedy, I just given 3 home remedies for everyone, and that was also sort of a research to say. So what we did was we had given Lashuna Kshirapakam. The beginning, first thing what we did was Lashuna Kshirapakam. Lashuna Kshirapakam was chosen because it is more Vata Kapha Hara. Vata Kapha Hara. Are you able to see the screen?
No, ma'am, your screen is not being shared. You can just speak on, because the bandwidth is
only. Okay.
We can hear your speech, madam. You can continue your speech. Yes. Now the video is visual.
Video is visual, but is the presentation visual? No.
No, madam. You can continue your speech by seeing the PPT, madam. It will be good. You can continue.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So the Lashuna Kshirapakam, that is what we had given. As you all know, it is Vata Kapahara. Vata Kapahara, and Lashuna is indicated in all Avarana Yadis. So apart from that, Lashuna is got a lot of research being done, almost 43 research studies they have done all over the world. And in that, what they have told us, it is an anticoagulant. So in that way also, it seems to be very effective. So as Dr. Somit said, even the Rasonadi Kashayam is very, very effective as it contains Aspira and all that. So that way, Rasona is very effective. That was a home remedy which I suggested for my patients, that too especially with Vata and Kapha Prakriti. Vata and Kapha disturbed diseases. I had given that. And 1 second. So this is Vata Kapahara and Pitta Vardaka. That's very important to be noted. It's Vata Kapahara and Pitta Vardaka. Exactly. So the previous slide, please. Yeah. So it is an anticoagulant. It lowers BP. It decreases LDL and increases HDL. So I categorize the COVID positive patients who have a previous history of DVT, cardiac, arteriosclerotic, diabetic, and AFib conditions, and pulmonary embolism. All these category of previous history of this sort of illness, they were given Rasonadi Kshirapakam. And the reason I have chosen Kshiram here was because already Yashchi Madhu given in 2003, though these are all Kapha Pradhanya Vyadis, that Madhu, along with Yashchi Madhu, milk was recommended. And this, of course, for this too, I had asked the patients to take it with milk. Next slide, please. So, next one is Drakshadi Pol. Draksha Palottama. See, among the dry fruits, Draksha is the best. So that is what our acharyas have said, and this is Vata Pitta Hara, and the karma is Jvara, Shwasa, Kasa, Kshaya. So we can give it as either Draksharishta, whatever. But usually I don't do that because I already give Bharagyadi and all that Kashaya. So what I do is I give this as a home remedy. I give this as a home remedy for my patients. Water. And then the next one. Water. So Draksha, when it comes to the research publications, Draksha has got the highest ORAC score. Highest ORAC score. So now you should understand what that means. One second. So it is a good antioxidant. It is a wonderful antioxidant, and that might be the reason why our acharyas have said Draksha Phalo Uttama. And there are some conflicting studies also. Some people say it reduces CRP, but some people say it doesn't. So that I'm not going to go detail into that topic. But basically it is Vata Pitta Hara, so it can be given for patients. Drakshadi Toyam, that way I'm giving. And this prevents acidity. As you all know that for the past 1 year, people drinking this kashaya, that kashaya as a preventive as well, finally end up with acidity. So when they come to us with acidity and we give kashaya and arishta and all, that shouldn't further increase acidity. So for patients like that, I had given Drakshadi Toyam. And almost 1 liter has been given every day. This is packed with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and phytonutrients and dietary fiber. So there are patients, when we give a patya in Ayurveda, next thing what they ask us is, doctor, I'm not healthy, no nourishment given. 1 second. So what happens is, in that condition, we ask them to take this Drakshadi Toyam, which is Vata Pitta Hara. There are 2 ways of taking that. One is soaking raisins in water and drinking the water, but I usually prefer the second method of crush it and boil it in water and give it 1 liter per day. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And the third one what I recommend is Deva Kusuma, that is Syzygium aromatica. This is Tikta, Katu, and Shita, and Pitta, Kapha, Paha. See, the first Rasona is Vata Kapha Harim, and Draksha is Vata Pitta Harim. This is Pitta, Kapha, Paha. The very important thing what I wanted to mention here, this is Kleta Daurgal Nashanam. And it is given in Shaya, Kasa, Shwasa, and Vata. It is a Vata Anulomana Dravya too. Usually we give half teaspoon of this churna morning and night with warm water. These are all home remedies which I have recommended depending on their requirement, because some people require Vata Kapha, some people require Pitta Kapha. So it depends on that. And there are also Ayurvedic medicines available though, but my preference was to give it as a churna form, half teaspoon in the morning and half teaspoon in the evening. And then next slide please. Ramya, next slide please. Yeah. Lavanga among the spices got the highest ORAC score, and it contains almost 60 to 90% of eugenol oil, and this is being indicated for COPD respiratory allergies, and it reduces platelet aggregation. Very point to be noted is it reduces platelet aggregation.
Some connectivity failure is there. It will be corrected very soon. Just wait a moment, participants.
Yeah.
Yes, madam.
So
continue.
And antifungal properties and combats fatigue. See, now 3 to 4 things to be considered in giving lavanga. See, it reduces the platelet aggregation. It is anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antifungal. Now, this particular lavanga usage, I've been giving it from for all the patients, despite Vata, Pitta or Kapha. That doesn't matter. The reason is it has got a multiple, a broad spectrum usage. Especially when it becomes antifungal, it can even prevent mucormycosis. So in that way, this can be given in the earlier stage and even till in the later stage. Maybe you can even give it for 2 or 3 months. It doesn't matter at all. So lavanga is a very good medicine which has got antiviral, antifungal, and also combats fatigue. So the post-COVID application of this is given in all Agnimadhya Lakshanas, and it's anthelmintic bacterial viral protozoal pathogenic infection. It is being indicated, and shortness of breath. It is given for shortness of breath, and also the skin infection caused by fungi and virus. So now bacteria, fungi, and virus, all the skin infections, it is given. So that is the reason I give this for all the patients, apart from whether Vatam, Pittam, or Kapham, or whatever the dosha is predominant. As a prophylactic measure, I give this for all my patients. And it is also helpful in preventing osteoporosis because of the oil content in that. Next slide, please. Now, for patients at home, treatment, home isolated patients, there are some patients who have mild, oxygen saturation, lower saturation, that is somewhere between 90 and 94. What I do is we also advise proning, and I think you will be all aware of proning. It is a timely proning will save life, and the way we have to do is just give some Vatahara Dravyas. Okay, my choice will be for Vata. I give Vayugulika and Niopayam in case there is some doubt regarding oxygen saturation level. But so far, I have not given them any such thing, and there was no requirement for it when I'm giving those 3 home remedies, depending on the patient. So starting after 1 hour after the Ayurveda medicines, this proning helps very well in increasing the oxygen supply. And these are the proning positions, and I hope you are all aware of that. I don't have to brief much about this. But for home isolation patients, it is definitely recommended so that it will save a lot of life, and oxygen demand will not be required. You don't need to go for oxygen. Then next one. Yeah, now this is a case study. A 16-year-old female tested positive on May 10th with a D-dimer 842, presented with sore throat, cold, cough, and headache. Borderline diabetic also. I just given her Shibula Katrayadikasham, Talisadi, and Sudarshanam. Avoid kapha increasing food. That is what I told her, because ahara, there is a lot of controversy in allopathic diet and Ayurvedic diet. I don't give heavy protein diet and all. I give them a lagu protein aharas. So lagu agara was indicated, and at home I given lashuna, kshira, and clove for her condition. And her oxygen saturation and temperature was well within normal. And she was tested negative within 7 days with D-dimer reduced to 45, just 6 to 7 days time. Next slide, please. Yeah, see, this is it. It was somewhere in 854 and it reduced to 45. So this one happened in just 6 days with all the home remedies and also with the kashayas. And I personally feel that the diet played a very major role in reducing the D-dimer. Next, please. Yeah, this was another case study. A female tested positive on May 10th and with STOT, STPT, which was slightly increased, and previous history of Vata Kapha Avarana Vyadhi and leave it to Annie syndrome. And she was presenting more of kapha symptoms with LRI, stuffy nose, itchy throat, fatigue, whatnot. She had almost all the symptoms of COVID, everything. So I had to give her quite a number of medicines like Dashmula Kadtharam, Shaddaranam, Vyakradi, and Sudarshanam, Talisadi, Vettumaran, Kutaja Arishtam. She was running high temperature too. And Dadimashtaka Churnam, and again, Lagu Ahara. And I asked her to avoid kapha increasing food. So this was a very important line of treatment. I asked them to take well smashed rice and diluted dal. So that was the ahara which I told them for the first few days. And then as a home remedy, I had given clove. As I told you earlier, clove I give for almost everyone. This patient, I don't know, there is no importance of SGOT, SGPT here. I understand that. It's not that great biomarker for COVID. But when I discussed with some of my known allopathic doctors, they said that the SGOT, SGPT would be a previous liver pathology. But now I asked you if this was, my doubt is if it is just here in just 7 days time, when you're treating COVID and when this has gone in 7 days, I still doubt that this was the her SGOT, SGPT was high on day 2, this was. So we immediately started, but before that itself, they started with Ayurvedic medicines. By 7 days, 10th, it was tested, on 17th, it was tested to be negative, normal. So I doubt if she had any previous liver pathology, but I doubt if this virus will infect anything and everything, especially the liver functions and all that. I don't know. I a lot more to study regarding that. And now coming to the next slide. Next slide is about the post-COVID complication. This is one of the very major case which we did. That is a 62-year-old male, a known diabetic, was tested positive on May 20th and was on allopathic treatment for the same. And what happened was CRP D dimer was high and developed foot drop on June 1st. On examination and Doppler study, diagnosed with peripheral arterial occlusive disease. So thromboembolectomy was done as an emergency, but the right lower limb, the blood supply was not restored. The doctors advised amputation, and as the right foot had no pulsation at all, and the limb was cold on touch and oxygen saturation was less, and the patient had severe pain and discoloration. So they called us for an Ayurvedic support of post-COVID complication. They asked us whether they should go for amputation or we can treat the Ayurvedic with Ayurvedic supportive therapy. So I had given them Savacharadi, Vetumaran and Kanchanara Gunduru, and at hand I asked them to keep Maharaja Prasarinya, the Kaishwara Guru. If required, I said I will be changing the prescription because they are already in an allopathic hospital now. And day 1 of medicine, I'm talking about the day 1 of Ayurveda medicine intake, the limb was slightly warm and pain slightly reduced. And on day 3, the whole limb was warm and the SpO2 of the lower limb was 93, and the patient was able to move his fingers. And again, what happened was the discoloration was restricted to the little finger. So it was not fully, the amputation, that is what the doctor said, it has to be amputated, but now the discoloration was very much restricted only to the little finger. So in post-COVID complications, we are able to give wonderful results. That is the reason I presented this, but the patient, the treatment is not yet complete, it is ongoing. So I'm just presenting you the picture which we received recently. The next slide, please. So this is on the day of surgery, and the other one on June 9th, it was, the discoloration changed and he was able to move his fingers, and the oxygen saturation also improved. So all that happened, and it's still in the process because the doctors wanted to follow, they discharged the patient, they wanted to follow up the patient only after a week to see if everything is restored. And we are also hoping for the best because clinically the patient has improved. Clinically the patient has improved a lot. We are still waiting for the results. So this is about the post-COVID complication we have treated at our center. The next slide, please. So conclusion, administration of Lavanga, Lashuna-Kshiram, Drakshadi Thoyam for SARS-CoV-2 is highly, strongly recommendable. And Yashti Madhu as a prophylactic for COVID contact cases, and Deva Kushuma as a prophylactic for mucormycosis. So this is the total conclusion which I wanted to finish off my speech with, because Deva Kusuma is, this Lavanga seems to be a wonderful prophylactic in all ways. As I told you, it is antiviral, antifungal and anticoagulant as well, and the diet plays a very major role in our patients because Laghu, Kapahara, Ahara prevents COVID complication, so thereby reduces the mortality. And early Ayurveda intervention prevents long COVID syndrome. This is very important. As I showed you earlier, when patients who took their medication properly on day 1 or 2, maybe before day 3 or 4, they are getting a very good result, and the biomarkers are all coming back to normal. Restoration of health is assured with proper line of treatment in Ayurveda, because post-COVID complications are more. And if you wanted to control the post-COVID complications, That's all. Thank you, Dr. Jacob and AIIC, the whole team for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. B.A. Uma, for giving a very good session. It was a different class. And also I thank Dr. Somit also. Now it is the time for our question and answer discussion session. So any doctor in this want to take a chance of any questions are there, you can kindly make a question. You can on your video as well as the audio and you can ask a question. And you should ask a question to a particular doctor, or if you're not asking for a particular doctor, both the doctors will explain to you. Okay, it is a question session. Anybody in this group? Kindly. The person who's asking the question can unmute and ask the question. Also the video also they can put, no problem. Kindly. Anybody there?
Dr. Jacob, there's a question in the chat. Any doshic explanation for younger population also affected much more than last time?
Once more repeat, Dr. Aramya.
Any doshic explanation for younger population also affected much more than last time?
Dr. Somit, whether you can answer it?
Yeah, so I think, see, it's, if you look at the overall data, this time what has happened is it was more spread. So the incidence was more than last year, first thing. Second thing is, you know, Bala is very important. Now, when we say Bala is Yukti Kritaha and also Sahaja and Kala, like, you know, Kalaja, all those intervention which decides the Bala. Now, if you look at this wave, somehow the Bala of the virus was also stronger than last time. So when you also consider the Bala of the virus, you have messed up the virus last time. So they had mutant versions this time. Second thing is, even though, and most of these, if you look at the incidence of which has rise is at the cusp of Vasanta Ritu and Grishma Ritu. So even in Coimbatore, we had got a cusp from Vasanta, it started increasing, then Grishma Ritu. Now in Grishma Ritu also your Bala goes down. Now when you say Bala is not only Deha Bala, but also your the Adikshamatva, whatever. So in such cases, when the young people, when they don't, you know, properly follow the diet and lifestyle, especially we transgress a lot as young people, we eat a lot of amajahara. So it creates a Agni issue, and that's where I see that this time when the incidence was more, that is more number of people were involved. Of course, that part of the society which is still young, and India, you know, is the youngest population in the world. So if out of 100, 70 people are getting this transmission, so obviously the number of young people being the largest representation of the population had higher incidence. Now the question is whether they had higher mortality rate, which is still debatable, kind of, you know. We have some unofficial data that there are, so, but we are doing a data analysis of our sample size also, that we know how many people were COVID positive with younger age, with high scores or severe disease. So though we came to know there is no more number of people, but it is just because of demography initially. More deaths, I think we will have to see for scientific data.
Thank you, sir. To Dr. Uma, how to differentiate COVID shortness breath with chronic asthma?
Can you hear me? Yeah. See, as far as I have seen, I haven't seen any chronic asthma patient getting COVID in my cases, but still, whenever there is a shortness of breath, they report to me. I ask them to check their SpO2 level regularly, and then let me know, so that I know that if it is they are keeping well despite the shortness of breath. And when it comes to shortness of breath and asthma, the breathing is very, very difficult. Very difficult here in COVID. There are 2 to 3 things, like when you walk or when you talk or when you do any action, at that time you have a shortness of breath is one case. And some cases, even without any any movement, they still have shortness of breath. These are the 2 types of shortness of breath we have seen in COVID. And in these 2, first thing is when you are exerting and you have shortness of breath, nothing to worry. That is very common in COVID. But shortness of breath when without any exertion, SpO2 to be checked. And that one will have a deeper asthma, will have a deeper shwasa, because they have a difficulty in breathing the deeper way. Understand? This is not like that. This is like a tightness, muscle tightness. They have a severe tightness in the chest muscle. So this presentation is different. When patients talk to us, they say there's something tightening our our ribs. Something is tightening. After that, I'm not able to breathe. So this is how they present. This is a different presentation from that of bronchial asthma.
Thank you, Dr. B.A. Uma. Thank you. Very good clarification regarding chronic asthma patient and shortness of breath due to COVID-19. Because practical experience is different from theoretical experience. Both are different. Okay, thank you, Dr.
May I add one thing in this?
Sure, Dr. Sumit.
Crepitus, we generally, in the spasmodic conditions in asthma and all, will have some rhonchi or crepitus or something. But in COVID patients, we don't see that immediately unless until there is a lot of fluid consolidation in the lungs. But that happens only in, so generally you will not see crepitus or this rhonchi in the lungs in case of COVID cases, unless until there is a secondary infection. Because basically what is happening is, now one important thing you'll have to understand, when you see the CT score 25, immediately we say, oh, or out of 25, 20, we say, oh, it is pneumonia. It is not pneumonia yet, because ground glass opacity only talks about the epithelial layer of the alveolus under attack by the virus. It does not tell that. So you have to go a little deeper into CT and look at whether there is fluid accumulation in the lungs. If there is fluid accumulation in the pneumonia, then there is a warning sign. So people who are going ARDS mode, so in homebound patient, I have not seen gross pneumonia. Those CT score may be 15 or 16, but there is no pneumonia. So this is another important thing when you are managing our COVID. Don't tell that I have reversed 15 score to 12. I also told 15 score to 12. Now that doesn't mean that you have reversed pneumonia of 15 score to 12. You have just reduced the ground glass opacities. So you need to understand that it was just inflammation in the alveolar sac that did not lead to a lot of fluid accumulation in the lungs. Okay, so this is some things which you'll have to. So in such case, when the fluid has started accumulating, then you may get some kind of rhonchi or some kind of. Otherwise, generally you don't find. They just feel breathless, SpO2 going down, even difficulty to speak. When you have acute ARDS, difficulty to speak. We see in the ICUs and on oxygen. And they are suboptimally, if you do a glass glaucoma scale, it will be low. So status asthmaticus, when you get, it's an acute spasmodic response. So this is different from ARDS. So I I think this is important just to add on to what ma'am has already told.
Sir, there's one more
Thank you,
question for you. Blood sugar level surge in COVID is relatable to particular Prakriti? Dr. Somit, any statistical observation? That's a question, sir.
I know Hari, he has very unique questions. So right now, Hari, statistically, I cannot tell you immediately because we didn't do Prakriti analysis against this surge. We did Vikriti analysis. I will be able to do a subgroup analysis, and then I will be able to tell you whether certain Vikriti had more surge or not. But the problem is that most of the patients who are in our research, the limitation is that they all are on steroids. So, in the second research, all of them are on steroids. So I cannot exactly tell you that whether certain Prakriti, because steroid itself, it's because of Visha, Cleda increases. So if you, or that case, we say Visha, but for them, it is important that they give insulin and reduce. So insulin-induced steroid-induced hyperglycemia, very difficult for, I can say that, okay, once I will be able to get the data exactly, I will be telling a subgroup. We have to wait for maybe a few months. In our previous study, unfortunately, we didn't have very good dependable data on Prakriti, but we had very good data on Vikriti. That I can share you also once we have the data analysis complete.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Uma, we have one more question for you. Any preventive measures Ayurveda for COVID that you've been practicing, it will be better?
See, I ask them to take one amla every day. I ask all my patients to take one amla. See, one adult requirement is 2000 at least international units, and one medium-sized amla has got 2000 international units in that. And however you take amla, there's still the vitamin C is good. Even if you fry it or whatever, at least 60% of vitamin C is retained. That is the reason amla has been so much recommended in Ayurveda. So that is what we call as Perinelli. Perinelli has got the richest source of vitamin C. So taking that, but some people, the moment I say this, our Tamil Nadu people, they say, doctor, it's so cold. Will it affect my throat? See, in that case, you can add a piece of ginger to it. It will not bother your throat. So you can take this preferably in the morning so that it doesn't much bother again. So the way Kala, when you're taking this, is very important. So in the daytime, it's okay. When it is night, it is getting more colder. So you can take this amla. This is one thing what I recommend. And if possible, and if you don't have any gastritis history, if you don't have any burning sensation or anything like that, I would recommend you to take at least 1 or 2 garlic cloves. That is very much recommendable, but probably not regularly. At least once or twice or thrice, probably whenever you have a sore throat or a sort of breathing discomfort or a lot of phlegm in your chest, that sort of, there is lower respiratory infection, that sort of patients can take that. And as I told you earlier, taking clove will help a lot, and taking Yashti Madhu, what is called as Adi Madhuram in Tamil. It's called as Adi Madhuram. That can be given as a preventive aspect. Again, I'm giving so many options, but in that, what you need to choose is vitamin C, because that is very much required now. Vitamin C regularly to prevent any cold infection. That is very much recommended. And apart from that, whatever you require, you can just message me, and depending on your prakriti, I can advise you what you can take. And for children and all, I will not recommend this garlic and all that. So many things are there, even in Ayurveda, even if it is a home remedy, you need to take it properly, else it will go the wrong way. So you need to take things rightly. So in general use, I think 1 amla for 1 adult. If there are 4 people at home, take 4 amla, juice it, and dilute it with water, and you can take equal. You can take equal quantity. All of you can take equal quantity. And if at all you have some throat infection, previous history or previous sort of LRI or like that, and if you're scared to take Sheetam, this is Sheetam, then else?
Thank you, Doctor.
Dr. A.R. Aramya will conclude with the thanking ceremony. I just request Dr. A.R. Aramya to make the thanking ceremony.
Namaste, one and all. I should say this was a real bombarding session in which we had a wonderful researcher and a wonderful clinician who could give us on all the insights that are required for a normal clinician. And most of the participants here are clinicians, and it would be really nice actually that we could continue this webinar very often also, so that we have much more insights. And thank you so much, Dr. Somit Kumar, who is the director and CSO of AVP Research Foundation. Thank you so much for taking your time for this, sir. And Dr. Uma, who is the director and CMO of Kalpavriksha Ayurveda Center. Thank you so much for being with us and giving the wonderful clinical insights. And now for a general information, we are actually having a webinar on June 20th, Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. Request all the participants to join us also on the COVID topic itself. And with the for the lending kind support, we thank the State President, Dr. Premvel, and State General Secretary, Dr. Samraj. And finally, I should really thank the whole AAC Coimbatore Zone family for lending their wholehearted support and joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Recording stop.